All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the fascinating and, let's be honest, pretty hyped up world of cognitive enhancement. We're talking about how people are literally trying to upgrade their own brains.
You know that feeling, right? Where your brain just feels like it's struggling to keep up with the constant flood of information, all the tasks, the deadlines. Well, you are definitely not alone. Our modern world just puts these incredible demands on us, demands our brains really didn't evolve to handle.
So it's really no surprise that in response to all this pressure, this whole brain hacking movement has just exploded. People are actively looking for ways to push past their natural cognitive limits, maybe for work or for school, or, hey, just to get an edge. But what does that even mean?
Okay, let's nail down a clear definition. According to the research, cognitive enhancement is not about treating a medical problem. Nope, it's all about taking an already healthy brain and trying to kick it into a higher gear. Better memory, sharper focus, thinking faster.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because the whole idea of a single smart pill like you see in the movies, it's a huge oversimplification. When you actually look at the science, the methods people use fall into three pretty distinct categories.
So these are the three main toolkits. You've got biochemical, which is what you put into your body, physical, which is about direct brain stimulation, and behavioral, which is all about training and techniques. Now, for this explainer, we're going to zero in on the first two, because frankly, that's where all the buzz and the controversy is.
Okay, let's dive into the one everybody talks about first, the biochemical toolkit. This is all about using chemistry to try and influence how your brain functions. And the menu here is, wow, it's incredibly diverse. I mean, it ranges from the supernormal stuff like the caffeine in your morning coffee, all the way to nutritional things like omega-3s, and even traditional herbal remedies. Then you start getting into recreational substances and, of course, the big one, pharmaceuticals, the so-called smart drugs.
And this is a perfect illustration of how specific this all is. Take two really common stimulants. Caffeine mostly just boosts your attention. Nicotine, on the other hand, seems to improve not just attention, but also memory. You see? There are different tools for different jobs.
So here's the crucial point, especially when it comes to those famous smart drugs. The actual scientific evidence that they work in healthy people is often way weaker than the hype would have you believe. And it makes sense, really. These drugs were designed to fix problems in specific conditions, not to supercharge an already healthy brain.
In fact, you won't believe how powerful the placebo effect is here. Studies show that people who just think they've taken an enhancer often perform better anyway. Why? Well, just believing you have an edge can make you less anxious and more motivated, and that alone can boost your performance. It's wild, but the power of belief is a real, measurable thing.
Okay, so if the results from pills and potions can be a little murky, what about interacting directly with the brain's wiring? Let's switch gears from chemistry to electricity and look at our second toolkit, physical interventions. This isn't about what you put in your body, it's about directly stimulating the brain's electrical activity, basically hacking the hardware.
Now, the most common methods here are non-invasive, so thankfully no surgery required. Techniques like tDCS use electrodes on the scalp to send a very weak electrical current through the brain. The basic idea is to gently nudge specific groups of neurons to be either more or less likely to fire, trying to tune your brain activity for a specific task.
But, and this is a huge but, this comes with a major warning label. The source material is really clear that the rise of these commercial do-it-yourself brain stimulation kits is a serious concern. Without precise professional oversight, you could be zapping the wrong brain area or using the wrong setting, and the consequences could be totally unpredictable and maybe even harmful.
And just like with the pharmaceuticals, the science here is very much a work in progress. Large-scale reviews of all the research have basically cast doubt on just how reliable these techniques really are, even in a controlled lab. It is definitely not the simple on-off switch for intelligence that it's sometimes made out to be. So, after looking at all this, what's the big picture? Well, the reality is that cognitive enhancement is an incredibly complex, multidimensional puzzle. There is no magic bullet, period.
And this table just perfectly captures the main idea. The best enhancer depends completely on what you're trying to do. If you want long-term memory improvement, a behavioral thing like mnemonic training is the tool for you. But if you just need a short-term attention boost to get through a project, caffeine is a much better fit. It's all about matching the method to the mission.
So let's lock in the key takeaways here. First, brain hacking isn't one thing. It's a whole toolbox of different strategies. Second, you have to forget the magic pill. No single thing improves everything, and they all have trade-offs. Third, what works is deeply personal. It depends on you, your goal, and the situation. And finally, these tools don't exist in a vacuum. A smart drug and a coffee can interact in totally unpredictable ways.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. As all these tools, the biochemical and the physical ones, get more powerful and more precise, we're going to face some really challenging questions. It's not just about whether we can make our brains better. It's about how we, as a society, are going to decide what a better brain even is.